Hi there, welcome to this devotion. Earlier this week, I was being driven through the Natal Midlands by my nephew, and to say that I felt uncomfortable in the drive is putting it mildly, because I was sitting on the back seat. And if I thought it was weird for me, my grandson was sitting next to me strapped in the car, and it was weird for him sitting next to me too. Now, he's only 3 years old, and it has been only a few months since he's been learned to speak. And he kept looking at me sideways like this and kept saying to me, "Grandpa, what are you doing? Grandpa, what are you doing?" And this question he repeated and repeated, and it felt like a dozen times. And eventually, us old guys, we get grumpy and irritated. And I turned around, I looked at him, and I said to him, I'm sitting here picking my nose. And as soon as I said it, he laughed, and I knew I should not have said that. It was the wrong thing to say. So I looked at him and I said to him, "And what are you doing?" And stuttering and stammering, he says to me, "I'm just sitting here picking my nose." Now I'm trying to get him to stop saying that. Hopefully I'll get it out of him before he gets back to school. Otherwise the teacher and I, we're going to have words. There's this ancient writing we have in our scriptures that tells us of a patriarch, Isaac, that went into the fields to meditate. We find it in Genesis. And this reminds me that we as Christians, we have this perception that we have to be busy all the time, that if we spend time sitting doing nothing, then we're useless. We're sitting there picking our nose. But sometimes to sit quietly and just ponder on the Lord and think of God and spend time with God is good. The problem is that we do not appreciate sitting quietly in God's presence. We think that if doing nothing is wrong, we've got to be fussing and we're doing something. There's that ancient saying that we believe we have to be either at the anvil or at the fire where the irons are. And there's nothing in between, either at the irons in the fire or at the anvil. And it's sad, because there's a lot of value in the calm retreat, quiet times where we just sit in God's presence. And as people, we believe we are useful when we are busy. We believe that when we are sitting doing nothing, that we're of no use to anyone. That when people sit there and are quietly talking with God, and just looking up into heaven and smelling the proverbial roses, we're not good at it. And it's something we've got to learn. It's something we've got to train ourselves into. People think we can't have too many of these quiet times. It's just not right. But in reality, the quiet times are as valuable as the busy times. The quiet times strengthen us for the busy times. The quiet times is what carries us through the busy and the hard times. I hope that this holiday you spend time developing the habit of being quiet in God's presence. That you learn to enjoy the alone time, that quiet time that you have. And if someone comes up to you and asks you, "What are you doing?" and they say to you, "So what are you doing?" Don't be like me and get irritated and say you're sitting here picking your nose. Share with them what you're doing. Share with them the value of sitting quietly and contemplating and re-energizing. I hope that you have time on your hands this holiday, and that you find purpose in sitting quietly in God's presence, that you sit quietly and have a relationship with the divine. Until we meet again, God bless.